Get some lemonade and sit back and enjoy. Looks like attendees are entering. Getting ready for a fun afternoon information. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully most of you are here and able to see and get started. Welcome to the response to COVID-19 webinar that will identify impacts on county offices of education that receive comprehensive support and improvement grants. I hope it is an informative session and addresses many of your questions and concerns. We are living and learning under unusual circumstances, and the need for compassion and a growth mindset are more important than ever. We approach this topic of responding to the coronavirus with serious contemplation as the California Department of Education and the county offices of education try valiantly to meet the needs of all its students, staff, and schools, and discuss today how to specifically support local educational agencies with schools eligible for comprehensive support and improvement. In the book entitled Coherence by Michael Folan and Joanne Quinn, capacity building is described as, quote, a common knowledge and skill base across all leaders and educators in the system, focusing on a few goals and sustaining an intense effort over multiple years, end quote. The work we are called to do will not happen overnight. With constant attention to our priorities and the willingness to work together, we will get through these trying times with resilience and grit. My name is April Tormey, and I serve on the CDE staff in the School Improvement and Support Office. My colleague, Christina French, is joining us virtually and will help me navigate the question and answer portion of this webinar. I am grateful that you could join us today. And if you are looking for the presentation on the CDE website, please know that it should be posted soon. Like many of you, some of us are also working remotely and dealing with technological challenges. Yesterday, CDE's power went out, thus causing a delay with posting. Please check periodically as we are working to get it posted as soon as possible. And I'm happy during the question portion of this presentation to spend more time on any slides that you want to see in greater detail. Before I go to the next slide, notice that the name of our division has changed. We are no longer IAD, the Improvement and Accountability Division, Student Achievement and Support Division. You will see that now on emails and correspondence moving forward. For the presentation overview, we will initially focus on the first Every Student Succeeds Act called ESSA, Comprehensive Support and Improvement called CSI, grant, which began in 2018. After a few slides, at slide 19, we will pause for questions and then segue into the second year, 2019. If you have questions, please type them into the question box, and I will answer them then. I will also answer questions at the end of the presentation. If I cannot get to your questions or you would like more information than I provide in this context, please email them to the School Improvement and Support Office at siso@cde.ca.gov. The next part of the presentation will be the best, so please hang around. We have representatives from a COE and an LE who are going to share their experiences with you and their contact information for you to reach out to them regarding the innovative ways they're using CSI funds to meet the needs of their students. Finally, we will share several resources that might inform your work around CSI and various student groups. The next 3 slides will briefly review the intent of these funds and how the COE is to use these funds to support LEAs. The California Budget Act of 2018 appropriated $10 million in ESSA Section 1003 funding to COEs for the purpose of supporting the statewide system of technical assistance and support. The COE CSI funds must be used in two primary ways. One, to support LEAs as they address the CSI prompts in their local control and accountability plan, or LCAP, plan summaries. And two, to review and approve the CSI response in their LCAP plan summaries. In addition to these two purposes of the funds, COEs have the opportunity to build LEA capacity in relation to stakeholder engagement, doing work around needs assessments, root cause analysis, and the process of identifying based interventions, strategies, and activities that align to the reasons why their CSI schools were identified for CSI. They may also use the funds in their continual efforts to employ data as a primary tool in developing, implementing, monitoring, and evaluating their planning and improvement work. To support LEAs as they examine any resource inequities is also a possible use of funds. The fiscal year 2018-19 grants are funded with 2018 CSI funds, determined by 2018 California School Dashboard data. Those funds were used this last year to implement CSI plans since the grant actually started back in March 2019. As many of you know, the initial end date of the grant was this September 30th, 2020, but the waiver of Section 421B of the General Education Provisions Act has extended the period of availability for those fiscal year 2018 funds until September 30th, 2021. One question that some have asked us is, will CSI be waived for the 1920 school year? And the answer is no. CSI is not waived. The work of continuous improvement must carry on to the best of our ability, even in these uncertain times. The expectation is that LEAs and COEs will continue to engage in the CSI work they have started in whatever way they can under the circumstances. We understand that every school is different, just like every student and every member. And maybe the needs of your CSI schools and students have changed during this pandemic. Even though every school has a unique culture and climate, and every student has responded differently to the situation, the dashboard data that made the CSI school eligible is hopefully going to turn around someday and show improvement. The needs that were assessed and the root causes that were discovered can still be pieces of valuable information at this time and a place to keep going with the data and the people that are available. Fiscal year 2018 CSI funds are still available and being apportioned out after each reporting period. All COEs with approved applications continue to receive their distributions at the end of the grant or until they report final expenditures. Here you see a table with the revised grant reporting periods. COEs basically have 12 additional months to spend their 2018 funds if they need to. Notice that report 4 is the next report due on July 31st, coming up, for expenditures accrued between March 1st and June 30th. Notice here that the names of the reports have changed to reflect 7 reports plus a final performance report. These reports will be in the grant management and reporting tool known as the GMART, which will then allow COEs to report expenditures approximately every 4 months, with the last one due by October 31st, 2021. The primary changes include the 12 additional months, the added number of reports, and the budget revision due dates. When and if you need to revise your budget, know that those need to be submitted and approved before expenditure reports. Apportionments will continue to follow each period until closeout. Another question we've been asked is whether you can skip a reporting due date, and the answer is no. Please access the GMART and report zeros in each object code if you do not have any actual expenditures during that reporting period. Also, please reach out to us in the School Improvement and Support Office anytime. I must admit we get a lot of calls and emails during reporting periods, but we are available all the time throughout the grant to discuss allowable use of funds and best practices when it comes to composing those challenging expenditure descriptions. COEs will not need to wait until September 30th, 2021 to close out. As soon as all funds are expended, the COE may close out the grant. In this case, the COE should liquidate its funds within 90 days. If necessary, the COE can request an extension of the liquidation period up to 90 days of the close of the end of the grant. Please contact us if you have questions. Now we consider questions around CSI plan. LEAs can certainly use their 2019-20 CSI plans to meet the planning requirements in the 2021 school year. The expectation is that CSI work will continue, that LEAs will update their plans as reasonable, practicable, and necessary, and evidence-based interventions, strategies, and activities will continue to be implemented. The ways in which this work will get done will vary due to COVID-19, and the educational leaders will need to be as resourceful and creative as possible to meet the needs of staff and students and schools. So what are some ways that COE personnel can support their LEAs with 2018 CSI schools during this time? One way is to ensure that they understand they have another 12 months to use the funds. Instead of the grant ending this September 30th, 2020, the availability of funds has been extended until September 30th, 2021. This is terrific news for a majority of LEAs, many of whom have not even expended half of their funds yet. Another way that COEs can help LEAs is to guide them in their efforts to analyze data. Without smarter balance tests this spring, what data is available to review? What are some useful ways to display it? Who will examine it? When and where and how often? And finally, COEs are in a good position to have a high-level picture of what schools are making progress and in which areas. To share resources and connect LEAs and schools who can benefit from each other's challenges and successes is imperative. To listen and learn, collaborate and connect can be extremely important roles of the COE at this time. Now we stop and ask ourselves some guiding questions. Our first guiding question is, how can we be more creative as we continue our school improvement work? And how can we be innovative and most effectively leverage local decision-making about what is best for our learning communities? We must stay the course and provide ongoing support to LEAs as they navigate through this unprecedented experience. Shown here is the link to the continuous improvement resources. If you have not checked them out, I strongly encourage you to do so. Some COEs have adapted them to be more customized for their LEA needs. The tools can be used as templates or the frameworks as guides to facilitate unique strategies. More specific questions require you to go deeper into the weeds. Ask how much of each school's plan was able to be implemented. How well have the LEAs been able to research and identify evidence-based interventions, strategies, and activities designed to improve their student outcomes? What do the data reveal? And how do we know if students improved? After reflecting back on what worked and what didn't, and to what extent, it is necessary to consider the path forward. Even though we do not have answers about how and when school will resume in the fall, we can consider what parts of our CSI plans we might adopt, adjust, or abandon completely. What may be our new priorities? What makes the most sense under the current conditions? Also think about, do we need additional help? And where can we find it? Consider reaching out to your geographic lead agencies, the CDE, and other experts in the areas of your most pressing needs. All right, now I'm going to stop and answer questions. Remember to email our School Improvement and Support Office at siso@cde.ca.gov for more thorough responses if I do not get to them in this webinar.
April, can you go back to slide 8 that shows the new deadlines?
Yes.
Or 9. And actually, and can you repeat when the materials will be posted?
This PowerPoint?
Yes.
This PowerPoint, it should be posted any minute. TSD is working on it. There was a power outage, and hope to have the slide deck up as soon as possible. Please continue trying to access it or email the CISO to send it to you if necessary.
How will COEs approve CSI plans? Will the prompts be included in the 2021 LCAP template and plan that is due by December 15, 2020?
April, this is Lori Marshall. Let me jump in and answer this question if I could. Hi, everyone. Lori Marshall. I'm the Ed Admin for our School Improvement and Support Office. I had a conversation with Jeff Brashears the other day specifically about this question. And at this time, there is no additional information about the CSI prompts in the 2020-21 LCAP. The executive order did not address this. It is our expectation that the CSI prompts will be addressed. They're, to be included in the template that folks will be using for 2021. So I'm sorry I can't answer more specifically, concretely, but as more information comes out about that, then we will be communicating either from my office or from Jeff Brashears' office. But it's an excellent question, and thank you for asking that. Thanks, April. I'll turn it back over to you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Lori.
And April, the next question is for LEAs receiving 2019 funds to be spent through September 30, 2021. Since they will remain eligible for CSI for an additional year due to the lack of identification on the upcoming dashboard, will they receive funding again in fiscal year 2020 to be used in 2021-22?
We do not know that information yet. The expectation is that you will continue working on your plan, of course, and developing and implementing your CSI strategies. We just don't know about the next round of funding.
Are COEs required to provide input and feedback on the CSI portion of the SIPSA when it is inputted?
COEs are responsible for reviewing and approving the CSI plans of LEAs with schools eligible for CSI. So I imagine it would entail that kind of back and forth work at times when the LEA needs support and help revising and making sure they have a great plan.
Okay, currently those are the only questions we have.
Okay, great. And if you have more questions at the end of the webinar, I'm happy to answer them. All right, I'm going to fast forward here back to the brief pause to answer questions. And now we're going to transition into discussing the second cohort, if you will, of CSI fund recipients as determined by the 2019 dashboard data. COEs who have LEAs with CSI schools can help them implement their plans for school year 2021. The grant started March 25th of this year and will end September 30th, 2021. Notice that the end date of the 2018 grant is now the same as the 2019 grant. There's been no extension of the 2019 funds. The waiver only applied to the 2008. Some have asked us if CSI is waived for the 2021 school year, and the answer is no. As part of the federal waiver that was granted to California on March 27th, California had to assure that school in CSI or targeted support and improvement or additional targeted support and improvement called ATSI in 2019-20 will remain that status in the 2021 school year and continue to receive supports consistent with improvement plans for 2021. The work that needs to be done is to develop and implement CSI and ATSI plans. One idea for LEAs that had schools identified in 2018 is to update those plans as appropriate for the 2021 school year. LEAs that did not have CSI or ATSI schools in 2018 and are thus new to CSI or ATSI are expected to create and carry out 2021 CSI or ATSI plans consistent with their status from the 2019 dashboard. Know that the CDE continues to work with the State Board of Education and the United States Department of Education on the school improvement timeline. And this next slide will show a timeline to guide these efforts going forward. Here you see a graphic that outlines a proposed timeline for CSI plan development and implementation through this January 2021. Notice it begins this spring on the left. And remember that we understand you may be very new to CSI or very familiar with the process and federal requirements. Wherever you are at is the place you are at. And the goal is to continue to do this work to the best of your ability with the data and the people you have, whether you're in classrooms or bedrooms, wherever you find yourself. Riverside COE will share shortly how it has maintained meeting with CSI teams virtually, and they're going to discuss various ways to do this work. The expectation is that CSI plan development activities will continue through the fall, with plans receiving approval in October and by January of 2021, we hope to see all LEAs in a position of implementing their CSI plans and going further and further as this little green arrow implies in your efforts to improve. Funds are available for CSI activities until September 30th, 2021. So plans would be expected to be in place until that time. The sooner that plans can be in place, the sooner that students, teachers, and leaders can benefit from them. This question asks about alignment to the LCAP. Since it has been extended until December 15th, LEAs may need to think strategically about how it will align its CSI plans to its LCAP. We hope this extended time offers a valuable opportunity to do this meaningful work collaboratively and coherently, using the right drivers to think deeply about how to reach improved outcomes. In regards to the apportionments, the first fiscal year 2019 apportionment is 25% of each COE's total allocation. It was processed in April last month, and COE should receive it this month or in June. This table shows the due date reports. Looking at the first row, you will see that initially report 1 was due this July 31st. But no, that has been extended now until October 31st, in case you were taking a deep breath there. The remaining ones occur approximately every 4 months, and notice report 4 has now turned into a final report due October 31st, 2021, making there one less report than planned initially. Okay. Hopefully you're all hanging in there. Next slide. So what are some ways that COEs can support their LEAs? First of all, they can share what they know, the best practices from prior schools and other LEAs. Then they can help their LEAs when it comes to data. Without dashboard data this year, or the Smarter Balance test results, what data will they examine? What ways can they best display it? Who will make sense of it? And how will they determine results? And finally, be good role models of patience and humility. None of us have all the answers, and all of us are uncertain regarding what the future holds. Now, I am extremely excited to have the Riverside County Office of Education share some of the ways they are doing this meaningful work. One important message I gleaned from an LEA they work closely with is how relevant it was for the COE to spend time listening to their LEA and commit to understanding their unique complexities. With that, I would like to invite Dr. Melissa Bazanos at this time, who will introduce some of their team and share their work.
Good afternoon to our California colleagues, and thank you to April and to the California Department of Education for inviting us to share this afternoon. First, we just want to mention that our contact information is on this slide, so if you have any questions about what we share over the next 10 to 15 minutes, please feel free to reach out via email, and we'd be happy to engage with any of our colleagues around your questions. So before we share details about our services and support, I just want to share a bit of context about Riverside County. There are over 431,000 students in our county, served by 23 school districts and numerous charter schools that range in size from 28 students all the way to 53,000 students. Our COE also provides direct student programs in alternative and special education settings. Based on the 2019 dashboard, there were 34 schools eligible for CSI within 15 Riverside County LEAs, and the majority of these were DAS schools, or dashboard alternative school status schools. And this was a decrease from the prior year, the 2018 dashboard. We had 43 schools identified. Riverside County also serves as a co-geographic lead agency in the California System of Support, along with the San Diego County Office of Education. We'd like to give a big shout out to our county office partners in the Southern California System of Support, known as SoCal SOS, which includes Imperial, Orange, and San Bernardino counties. Today, we're going to summarize our COE supports of districts with schools eligible for CSI, both before and during school closures, to describe some of the ways we've pivoted our support and services. We're also going to briefly touch upon our collaboration with our other county colleagues in our SoCal SOS geographic area to provide a summary of the shifts in our collaboration as a result of school closures. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Colleen Flavin, a former Riverside County Principal of the Year who has spearheaded Riverside County Office of Education's CSI support for LEAs, schools, and our county office partners. Dr. Flavin collaborates with Riverside County Office of Education's fiscal services in order to fulfill the reporting requirements that April shared earlier. Colleen also serves as a member of our LCAP review team with a specific focus on the CSI prompts. And she continues to innovate and iterate our COE services in order to meet the diverse needs of districts, schools, and students in Riverside County. So April, you can go ahead and advance to the next slide, and I'll turn it over to Colleen.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. Good afternoon, everyone. And again, I'd also like to thank April for giving us an opportunity to share our experiences related to supporting the CSI needs of our LEAs. Before we begin, we wanted to take a moment and share a key learning. CSI support is highly contextualized. Each LEA has specific needs based on their experience with improvement science and turnaround school actions. And even further, each school within an LEA has unique needs related to their eligibility. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach, nor is there a perfect starting point and ending point of support. We have found that in order for our COE to best partner with LEAs and schools, we must meet the organization where it is and develop capacity through contextualized and differentiated support. Prior to COVID-19 and school building closures, supports for our districts and schools was varied. One type of support included on-site visits and observations in which site and district leadership partnered with our county office in evaluating existing CSI plans and creating actionable next steps to enhance the evidence-based interventions available to students. For example, after our county office team visited 2 school sites, it was determined that their district and site leadership desired to observe their identified evidence-based intervention around restorative practices to reduce suspension in practice. As such, our county office was able to arrange an inter-district visit to a school site with a similar demographic where the restorative practice intervention had been successful. The 2 school teams were able to visit the hosting LEA school site to observe the intervention, speak with their improvement team and student panel, and take these key learnings from the experience and make applications to their local contexts. Another type of support included a multi-day root cause analysis inquiry training. This one-day session included a description of CSI eligibility, the planning requirements, and an overview of improvement science actions in order to begin needs assessment planning. These sessions were followed by several multiple day opportunities at the LEA and school level designed to guide district and site improvement teams in applying improvement science tools learned in the one-day sessions. Some examples included initiative mapping, fishbone analysis, process charts, 5 whys, and empathy interviews. This positioned schools and LEAs to identify the best evidence-based interventions. Additionally, our county office offered CIPSA development with dashboard analysis sessions that highlighted the requirements of CSI and ATSI planning. These sessions were designed to support LEAs with providing their schools the resources and tools that could yield meaningful CIPSA development that was aligned to the specific and unique needs of each school's eligibility around CSI and ATSI. Next slide, April. CSI support services before COVID-19 included collaboration with our county office and our geographic area, as Melissa mentioned. Collaboration with these county offices has been critical. Team members from each of our 5 counties, including Imperial, Orange, San Bernardino, San Diego, have been instrumental. Our team recognized the need for collaboration around our role in supporting LEAs with schools eligible for CSI and ATSI. This team has served as a venue in which county offices have an opportunity to calibrate our collective understanding, receive feedback from one another, and develop common resources to more effectively support our LEAs. Before COVID-19, the team generally met in person and engaged in a variety of predetermined activities that enhanced our capacity of each COE. This resulted in each county office expanding their existing resources and increasing a collective understanding relative to what's working and what's not working in using improvement tools. These experiences have served as a catalyst to increase our understanding. As we know, we learn engaging in the work of improvement science. Additionally, our team is developing a repository of improvement tools and trainings that can be accessed and adapted to meet the LEAs and needs of each school's context. As the CSI County Collaborative continues to engage in conversations, it became clear to our team that CSI and ATSI dashboard analysis visualization tools would benefit our LEAs. With feedback from this county collaborative, we created data visualization tools. These tools include an application that demonstrates how schools become eligible and an application that supports long and short-term dashboard goal planning. Next slide, please, April. As LEAs, schools, and county office CSI supports continued to advance and evolve, we encountered building closures related to COVID-19. During COVID-19, our COE assessed LEA needs and shifted our support. It was important for districts and schools to continue, and alternatives were developed and customized based on district needs and school needs. These alternatives have included frequent virtual meetings with CSI improvement teams. Virtual meetings are used to provide guidance so teams can continue their improvement work, adapt existing CSI plans, and develop actions to address the changing needs of students during building closures. For example, at a recent virtual session, the school improvement team recognized the need to course correct their CSI plan due to building closures and identified that English learners needed greater virtual access to their teachers. Additionally, our COE has recognized the importance of continuing the momentum that our LEAs and schools were engaged in previously, and we were quick to provide guidance in developing school plan for student achievement during COVID. Through a webinar, participants learned how to continue required plan development, that is informed by state indicators, stakeholder engagement, needs assessment planning, identification of resource inequities, and mindful selection of evidence-based interventions during an uncertain duration of distance learning. Furthermore, districts and schools continue to engage in CSI planning, it became evident that support for virtual stakeholder engagement would benefit our county. As such, resources were developed and guidance was provided on how to hold virtual meetings with school site council and DLACs. Essential tools were created, including templates for evaluation that LEAs could use and revise to meet the needs of their local context. Next slide, thank you. Collaboration with our county offices in our geographic area has continued through COVID-19. The CSI Collaborative, which includes Imperial Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, and San Diego, has found a need to collaborate more frequently in the virtual setting. Currently, the team is meeting at least one time per month to stay connected and informed with evolving guidance and federal requirements related to CSI. Knowing that continued support is needed for all ELEAs, the work of this team forges ahead to ensure consistent communication across our 5 counties. County offices are at a recent county office meeting, we provided one another feedback related to CSI goal planning, plan development, monitoring, using PDSA cycles. San Diego provided our 5 county team guidance in using Pareto charts to identify resource inequities. Our future work continues as we forge ahead in supporting our LEAs that have schools eligible. At this time, next slide, I'd like to introduce Dr. Angela Randolph. Dr. Randolph is the Director of State and Federal Programs within Desert Sands Unified School District. She has been an active participant in working alongside the identified schools in Desert Sands, and her partnership with our county office has been and continues to be critical and instrumental to school improvement. Dr. Randolph, we would love it if you could share your insights and experiences related to CSI.
Sure thing. Thank you, Colleen. First of all, just a big shout out to Riverside County Office of Education staff for being phenomenal thought partners with our district, Desert Sands Unified School District, through the CSI process. Their assistance to us, and specifically to me as the Director of State and Federal Programs, has been invaluable. We appreciate their collaborative approach, always ensuring the alignment of their work with our district practices and our local context. This process allows us to align our CSI plan to our LCAP. So here's a little bit about the Desert Sands story. Several months ago, Colleen reached out to me and other district administrative team members offering her support with the CSI process. So Colleen, with our Senior Director of Secondary Education, and I met with site leadership teams, the site leadership teams of CSI identified schools. And to be honest, we really weren't sure where everything was headed after that first meeting, but we soon learned that Colleen listened and listened very well because she tailored her responses and targeted her support. She was really patient and she adeptly adjusted to each principal in each site because there isn't one particular place where everybody started. It was obviously in various starting points, but she committed to understanding the complexities at each of the school sites. And she established a solid relationship with her follow-through. She was always timely with her responses, and she nudged the principal, she nudged me in her timely responses, which helped to keep the momentum going. And it served as a reminder that we wanted to have, it created a sense of urgency, and it helped us keep the process going, especially during the time of school closures. She met with the site leadership teams, as she already has mentioned, not only in person, but also virtually, which has kept us moving. And she facilitated the full day sessions and has provided ongoing technical assistance related to the needs assessment process, the data analysis process, root cause analysis, resource inequities. She discussed ways that school sites could respond innovatively to their student needs, and she's helped them identify research or evidence-based interventions. As stated earlier, there isn't one place to begin. And I think what we learned, one of the biggest things we learned, and I would encourage everyone, is to just dig in and start the conversation. Because it's through that process that the answers come to be, that we understand through each of those processes, through the shared learning and through those processes where we need to continue our process with the CSI development. So what are the ultimate results? I can tell you, even just speaking with a principal today, I happened to mention Colleen's name and I could hear a smile through the phone. She's awesome, she's amazing. And what that she exemplifies is building capacity. She came alongside our administrative team and helped build capacity with our principals. And for that is one of the most important things that anybody can do for us. And that is what we are so grateful for with Riverside County Office of Education and their assistance in the CSI process. So thank you, Riverside County Office of Ed, and specifically thank you, Colleen.
Wow. Thank you, Riverside. That was amazing. So many things highlighted that all of us, as we dive deep into the CSI journey, know it is part of the journey and the messiness, but such great examples. Dr. Bizanos, thank you so much for framing it in a way that totally introduced how things are not one size and explaining the details of your county and mentioning so many schools that probably resonate with those around the state. So I'm hoping all of, more and more of you reach out. And Dr. Flavin, I loved what you said about mindful selection space strategies. I love that because we can look at the process and know, oh, we need evidence-based strategies, but how about we keep it mindful and intentional and customized to our needs. And then Dr. Randolph, thank you so much for reminding us that we need to dive in, we need to continue the conversation, don't know all the answers. Data can be messy. We look at one piece and then we realize, oh, we need more, we need less, we need this, we need that. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing. This is really, really interesting work around at a very interesting time. So thank you. Okay, well, I guess I will continue with a few more slides here for all of us. There are some helpful tips going forward to continue with the CSI and ATSI work as much as is reasonable, practical, and necessary, while always thinking of safety first. To keep trying to creatively and innovatively meet the needs of our students, leverage local decision-making about what is best for your learning community, and always being mindful, love that word, of equity, access, and privacy. Okay, our final slides will review several items that may help you in your improvement efforts. Here you will see several links to COVID-19 related web pages, such as the waiver mentioned earlier in this presentation. Once you can, of course, it's still not up, I just checked, but you may want to download this PDF and peruse these links and build your capacity and also share with others as appropriate. As many of us know, CSI work is up and down, back and forth. The path to improvement is not often a linear one, or the same for every school, as just reinforced by Riverside. When you and your teams dive deep into the data that made your schools eligible for CSI, you may find you want more information about particular student groups. Building capacity and creating coherence is engaging work that can take you many directions. We will now spend a few minutes making sure you are aware of where to find these relevant resources. So first we'll look at English learners and English learners who are also receiving special education services. They are not a homogeneous group, and you may want to look at several pieces of data like those listed here in DataQuest to see what they reveal. Here are more resources. on English learner specialists, and a link to the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence. One resource among others is the COE Collaborative Toolkit from the California County Superintendent's Educational Services Association that can be found at this link. Here you will find COVID-19 specific resources for English learners. On this slide, there are resources that support foster youth, such as the Foster Youth Services Coordinating Program, information on state outcomes, rights, partnerships, and liaisons. Here you see information about the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act and where to find strategies to help students experiencing homelessness and contacts for home liaisons. Assistance for students with disabilities and their families are on this slide. Notice the links that can lead you to a great deal of information regarding students' unique needs. This slide and the next provide the email addresses and phone numbers to contact for each program office. And the final slides are an appendix that shares the alternative text for slide 25. As we reflect on information and process the innovative ways in which Riverside has worked to build relationships among several COEs, LEAs, and schools, and make progress, we can continue our journey of continuous improvement and recognize that it will go a variety of directions that we may or may not be able to anticipate at this time with all of the various issues. An open mind and ability to be flexible are paramount. Let us listen, and learn more and more from each other. Like in the book entitled Coherence by Michael Fullen and Joanne Quinn, coherence making is a continuous process of making and remaking meaning in our own minds and in our cultures. Thank you for attending. Please stay safe and healthy. With that, I am done, but we'll field questions as long as we are able.
Currently, April, there are no additional questions.
Oh my gosh, everything was thoroughly explained. That's wonderful. So continue to email CISO if necessary, if things come up, or contact our Riverside colleagues as appropriate. CISO is siso@cde.ca.gov. And thank you very much for taking the time this afternoon to join us.